All right, guys, this week we're here in Vermont. We're at Brewster. Last year we played Fox Run. This year we're gonna play Brewster. So hole one, let's get into it. It's 320-foot par three. Forehand, gonna go zone. Gotta go zone. Hole one, it's gonna be a zone, 320 feet, par three. Pretty much just wanna throw it dead straight. The hole definitely looks like it goes right, but it pretty much just goes straight and you'll have a putt if you throw it dead straight like that. See if we hit the wood chips. Yep. Should be good. Zone. All right, we got the TI zone. We're in the wood chips. Gannon clogged the basket with freaking disc, of course, because he throws a million. Let's see it. You're supposed to clog the basket inside the basket. All right, we got hole two. This is a stereotypical par four here at Brewster. Straight through the tunnel, a little bit off to the left-hand side, but you kind of just want to throw like a hyzer into this hill that kind of trickles back to the right. There is a short tee up there. I like to throw mid-range. I'm gonna throw mid-range, just kind of see where we can land up there, but you kind of want to land just flat, maybe a little hyzer, and a lot of times they like to anti-skip. So hopefully I can show you that once we get up there with this buzz. Oh, holy, early release. That kicked off 8 trees, perfect. I'm gonna throw another one and try to throw it better. Another buzz. This is a Halloween buzz I've been throwing. I just got them at the factory last week. There we go. Much better. So hit flat, hopefully. A lot of time. Oh, got a root. Normally they hit that hill like that and they kind of trickle a little bit to the right. Throw a new Sagara. This is a AB Sagara I just got from the factory as well. So that's nice. That's nice and straight. A little bit of stability. There you go. Yeah, now you can kind of see how the ground play is. That's how it normally is on this hole, is you'll hit and kind of trickle back to that right-hand side. The first one I must have just hit a root, so sometimes it can be random up there, and that's the tough part on this hole is you think you're gonna get one ground play and you get the other, and that's when you get in a bad spot and get out of position. But so here's my white buzz that I threw. It was coming in pretty much perfect and hit one of these roots right here. So these are little things on the course that you can't really control. I threw a perfect shot, perfect angle, hit one of these roots and kind of bounced over there. And now I pretty much have no shot. Whereas this driver, it flew past these roots and into the sweet spot. So maybe that's the difference between throwing driver and mid-range on this hole, is opening yourself up to hitting roots versus not hitting roots. So that's something to keep in mind for sure. Now from here, it's pretty much just a chip shot zone. That might go in. Oh, so close. Let's try one more. Another good shot with the zone there. All right, that was great. So looks like I'm gonna throw a cigar instead of the buzz. So making those little mental notes of where those roots are and what discs I can throw to kind of fly past those roots is always very important. Through my drive and my second shot pretty much parked. So that pretty much makes the hole super easy. If you land your shot in that sweet spot where I did, you can just tap in using my new Focus. Been loving the new Focus Jawbreaker. I haven't seen them. Definitely check them out. I know they just hit the retailers. Check out my new Jawbreaker Focus. Gonna love it. All right, we got hole three, another 320-foot hole, just like hole one, except this one's a backhand. It's gonna go up the hill and then fade left. This one is, once again, I always talk about the hills. This one goes way up. So your disc, even if you're throwing the right line, right angle, it's gonna be flying like this. So it's gonna be wanting to go left. Anytime you throw nose up like this, it's always gonna wanna fade back left, and it's gonna cut off distance. So 320 is gonna play more like 350. So I might, I'm gonna throw a couple buzz shots, and then I might also throw a Sagara just to upgrade this, since we are going pretty far uphill. But I'm just trying to throw straight and let the natural fade of the uphill slope take me left. That kind of is the guardian tree there, that right side one, to where if you pull it, you're gonna hit that. I'm gonna throw one more, try to hit the gap. Dang it. So the gap is tighter than you think. I'm gonna throw a cigar just so I don't have to throw it so hard and I can focus on hitting the gap. Cigar up the middle. There we go. Much better. So that's kind of the play for me. It looks like it's just kind of throwing a little soft cigar shot like that third one. I hit left side tree, right side tree, and then hit the gap. So yeah, this is my first round. I took some time off after deglow, so I'm still a little rusty. After anytime I take time off, and then start playing again, I'm a little rusty. So yeah, knocking the rust off, but we're out here getting the reps in. We're ready for another week. So my Sagara, if I had to guess, I definitely didn't throw it here because I hyzered right towards the basket. So I probably hit those rocks and then rolled back, which can happen on this green. As you can see, it's raised up with rocks everywhere, but try to hit the putt anyway. All right, squeaked it in there with focus. But yeah, I've been liking these Sagaras for sure. That's a little uphill, so it plays more like I said, like a 350 shot. So it's kind of right between a buzz and a fairway for me. I can just throw a nice, 60% Sagara, or I'll have to throw like an 80% buzz. But yeah, probably gonna go with the Sagara. Fit the hole better. All right, we got hole 4. This is a 550 uphill par 4. This one dog legs to the right-hand side. You definitely want to throw like a hyzer flip to turn, but you also don't want to turn too much right or left. It's a very specific shot to where if you're not in the middle, you basically can't access the pin. So stepping up to this hole, there's a premium on throwing a good drive, and right off the get-go, if you don't throw it pretty much perfect, you're pretty much automatically just scrambling for par. And so it does put that extra pressure on you, knowing that you have to throw it perfect if you want to get a birdie here. So I'm gonna throw this orange Sagara that I've been throwing really well in the last couple holes. That flies great. I love that thing. So that's pretty much the perfect spot right there. That is the perfect spot. Wow. I'm gonna try one more. This is the other Sagara that I've been throwing. Threw it a lot at Ledgestone actually. Continue that. That's another perfect shot. Those things fly so good for me. Wow. Both of those are absolutely perfect. So first couple holes, I'm loving the Sagara. Throwing a lot of buzzes, zones, and of course putting with my focuses. So yeah, this course just plays to my strengths. I definitely feel like it's gonna be a great week, and I'm gonna be able to play some good disc golf. So that's what it's all about. It was a good week last week battling with Gannon. We both played really well and pushed each other. So that's always the good competition is good for the game. So hopefully we can do it again this week. All right, so I think Sagara is definitely the play. Both of my Sagaras are in the absolute primo spot, what Brett Hammock would call the garden. It's in the garden here. So here I just would have a standstill shot. Playing this hole as many times as I have, I've seen a lot of reactions on that green, so I like to just throw a smooth ante. The shot's kind of a flex shot to flex back. I just like to throw one angle, throw the ante, take the 20-footer. I know I'm gonna make that most of the time, so I don't need to get cute and try to park it. I can just play to 20 feet, and that way I can avoid certain trees from hitting them. That's pretty much exactly what I wanted to do. A little short. Try one more. That's better. So I just went just right of that tree. That's kind of the tree that I want to go right of. Even if I just throw it a little bit shorter right and take that uphill 20-footer, it eliminates hitting any of those trees up there and rolling back and then taking yourself out of a chance for birdie. Especially from a spot like this. When you're in the garden like this, you got to get up and down. At least give yourself that chance. And anytime you can eliminate hitting trees and rolling and just getting yourself up there safely on the green, rely on the putter. That's what I do. It's my strong suit, so might as well rely on it. We are up here on the green. My first zone's right here. Got a nice high percentage putt for a bird. Oh, no would be. That was the craziest reaction ever. That's crazy. Almost a birdie, but yeah, you can see kind of what I'm trying to do. Just trying to throw it just right of this right side tree here and kind of land in this sweet spot here, because that's where the most open space is. If I start hyzering and throwing that flex shot, I can hit those trees and roll. So yeah, try to play this right side of this green. Gives you the best chance to get that open putt. All right, we got hole 5. That's a 305-foot par 3. Dog leg a little bit to the right. Very similar to hole 1, where the hole tricks you into thinking that you want to just go way around the corner. But if I just throw my dead straight zone and fade a little bit to the right, I'm gonna have a 20-footer. That's gonna be a little bit right, but we'll see if it gets through. Okay, so got a kick, but even from where that's at, it's about a 30-footer. So that one, I pulled it a little bit too far right. This one I'll put a little bit more flex on and try to get a little bit more straight carry before I finish off to the right side. There we go, that's better. That went straight, now it's just gonna fade at the end. Yeah, so that one's good. That one may even be a little bit too far right. So as it makes you, once again, it's hard to sometimes not fade too far right because you do have this OB on the left. So A lot of variables. This rock wall, you definitely don't want to mess with that. But then it's easy to pull it to the right and or push it to the right and hit one of these guardian trees on the right hand side. So yeah, really good hole, short par 3. That's kind of the name of the game out here, is short par 3s, short par 4s. We got to shape a shot. A lot of times you got to fight with elevation change or elevation, gain or drop. So let's get up there and putt. Alrighty, so this is my shot that actually hit a tree, but I just pretty much, if I were to throw my disc pretty much dead straight to here, then I would have that 35, 40 footer, just like I told you, pretty high percentage. And I didn't take much risk in the fact that I just threw it straight, which is no trees in the middle of the fairway normally, normally. So yeah, always good to give yourself that look and that chance to get bird. So I went zone and then jawbreaker focus on the putt, get the birdie hole 5. And my second one that I threw a little bit further right is actually parked. So, that's the difference. If I throw it dead straight, it's gonna be about 30 feet. But if I challenge some of those trees in the fairway, it's gonna have a chance to park it, but I also have a chance to drop at 60 feet and get no birdie look at all. So I'd much rather throw it straight, get that high percentage birdie look, no chance for bogey, and yeah, take the sweat out of this hole. All right, we got hole 6, 345, downhill par 3, plays more like 310, 320, something in that range. I'm gonna go with the focus. This is the kind of shot where you kind of wanna follow the fairway on like a gliding hyzer. You don't wanna have too steep of a hyzer, but you also don't wanna throw it just dead straight. So it's kind of, pick your kind of neutral disc that flies straight, and then more, once it gets to 280, 300, then it starts fading. You don't wanna have a ton of height on this because you are going downhill. So I like to keep mine a little bit low. And that way it has time to hit the ground and stop, versus if it's in the air, it's flying past the basket on a fast green like this. So try to keep it low and try to keep it straight with a little bit of glide left. That's pretty much what I'm trying to do, a little bit. So that was a tiny bit too low. That's probably gonna be about 30 to 40 feet short. So I'm gonna throw a second one and try to throw it a little bit higher than that. That was a really good line, just a little bit too low. That one's too straight, so that's had more power. Okay, it went through all the trees. That's about, if that got through and didn't hit anything, it's probably gonna be about 30 feet to the right of the basket. I wanna have a little bit more fade. I'm gonna try one more, maybe throw just a smooth zone down there. Okay, that's good. Okay, I like that. That was probably the best of all. So I just crested the hill. You see how low I kept that? None of those shots really got too high, because on a shot like this, the height is the most important thing. And that's something I've done a lot better at. At this point in my career, I've just got a lot of experience on throwing up downhill shots. And so you just learn. You learn how players that are good at managing hills, how do they do it? What discs are they throwing? How are they throwing them? So you're just always a student of the game. And yeah, it's something I've gotten a lot better at just over time, playing and getting, on tour. You're always getting slopes. You're always, you never have a flat lie. You're always fighting the terrain, because the best courses have slopes. And so you got to learn to adjust. Also, another thing that I'm just noticing now is there's a lot of roots, not as much dirt. So a lot of times you want to hit in this area, which is exactly what this zone did. It probably hit in this area and then caught a root. And instead of skipping to the basket, it's stuck here at about 50 feet. So something to keep in mind. Maybe I want to throw it a little bit higher next time, just to avoid hitting those roots. And so that's something I'm definitely paying attention to as I, get my laps through this course. But here's the second one that kind of just went dead straight. It's definitely not the worst. Have a little downhill 40 footer, something like that. So this was the best of the bunch. Oh, flopped out, dang it. But yeah, really been liking my focuses. I just threw that one off the tee. I've also been putting with them, so I kind of, yeah, they're really versatile. I think the grip of them, they grip in the hand for putting. And like I said, I get a good consistent flight out of them, nice and straight. I would say I feel like they're a little bit straighter than the AB focuses, which I like, because I've always been a beat up putter guy, where I'll beat up a putter for like a month or two, then it's like in its prime, whereas these feel like they're in their prime right out of the box, because they're a little bit straighter out of the box, and I like that. So got one of these double stamps here, the silver and black Ricky stamp. That's my go-to right now, and it's gonna be the moneymaker for this next couple weeks. All right, we got hole 7. This is a 575-foot par 4. This is basically a straight shot, throwing about 350 to 400 feet, and then you basically go 90 degrees straight left. But I'm just trying to throw kind of a hyzer flip into those mulch, that mulch kind of a path. If I land in there at about 350 to 400, it kind of takes me into the perfect spot to where I can throw up to the basket and throw the cigar again. That's pretty good. So that might be a touch too straight. I can still get up and down from there. I'm on that right side a little bit pinched because I thought I was gonna hyzer a little bit more, but I'm gonna throw another cigar. This one I think is gonna be a little bit more stable than the last one. Yep. Oh, I clipped that last tree, but both of those, even though hitting those trees, I got all the way down the fairway before I hit a tree, and I still probably have about a 50-50 chance to get up and down. Yeah, anytime you can get past most of the trees on a wooded hole and get way down there, even if you're in the rough, you know, you still give yourself a chance and taking out these trees out of play that are right off the bat. Huge bonus, because I'm not going to get a bogey. Worst I'm going to get from those lies is going to be a par. So that's always good, especially on a tight wooded par 4 like this hole. All right, so I kind of threw to this right side cutout. Normally I like to play a shot that fades up left, kind of going left of that tee pad, but I've been liking the last couple years just throwing a little bit straighter, not really risking hitting any of these trees in the fairway. So this spot is good. I think I clipped a tree and bounced here. Normally I'd land about another 20 feet up there, but this is a great spot. So I'm gonna throw a buzz. I'm basically just trying to throw a smooth ante up there and play to about 25, 30 feet. As you can see this gap, I'm just trying to just miss this crooked tree on the left side and then turn it into the gap, and we are going uphill. So everything's gonna wanna pull left. So I'm gonna throw a little bit flippier of a buzz for that reason. That's solid. I think that might even be a little bit long actually. So it's tough to go long on this upshot, but I think I just did. But I kind of threw a really committed shot, just barely missed that tree on the left, glided up there and probably about 30 feet long past the basket with a good chance for birdie. It's always a good thing on this hole. So it's a gettable par 4, but it's also tricky just because this corner tree sticks out, and then you got some of these trees, guardian trees up by the basket that if you hit them, you're stuck at like 40, 50 feet, so it's not a gimme putt. All right, so my buzz here actually landed almost pin high. A little bit deep like I thought, but not as deep as I thought I was gonna maybe be landing back there somewhere. All right, let's see if I can make the birdie. Yeah, sweet. Awesome. Yeah, I've been really liking the focuses and throwing the new buzz. This is like a Discraft Beetlejuice special from 2023, Halloween limited edition. Really liking this. Do that on the second shot, so let's head to the next hole. All right, we got hole 8, and it's an 830-foot par 5. Probably one of the hardest holes, if not the hardest hole out here at Brewster. Really like the design. You gotta throw a good shot, accurate shot on every hole, or on every shot if you wanna get the birdie. I'm gonna go with the Cigarra, start us off, try to put us in the fairway, and try to get us a birdie. I definitely, like I said, I think for me this is probably the hardest hole on the course to birdie, but don't mean we can't do it. Oh, got a good kick. All right, that's birdie position A right there. Man, I'm getting good kicks lately. I like that. Disc golf's more fun when you're getting good kicks instead of sideways kicks into the crap. So this one's same disc. I'm gonna throw exact same shot, just try to turn it a touch more than that first one. Oh, that's should be cash. A little bit right, but that's still playable. I think that's still a birdie position from there. I'd say I've got about a 40% chance for birdie from that first one and like a 30% chance for birdie from that second one. So a little bit less chance. I always like to put a percentage on it. Of course, you know, for me, the way I tackle a hole, I'm 100% chance trying to birdie it. So that's all I think about. But at the same time, you got to be realistic, and yeah, we'll see if my percentages come true. All right, so this is partly what makes this hole tricky is I hit the fairway, but I also have some roots to contend with, uphill slope, and kind of a middle tree up there. So I'm trying to go just right of that middle tree in the fairway, glide up and land in the fairway. If I do get two nose up and skip left, I'm in the crap with no shot. And if I hit one of these trees straight, it's gonna be a long up and in to the basket. So really premium on the drive and second shot to give yourself even a chance for the birdie. So let's put ourselves in a good spot. That's perfect. So that is literally exactly where I'm trying to throw it. So point A to point B. Now hopefully we can get the birdie. We're gonna go to that second one. I turned it a little bit too much, just looking at that first one, I hyzered out. And from here, really pinched off. As you can see, I turned it over a little bit too much. Even if I land a couple feet this way, I can throw a shot. From here, I can't advance the disc much more than 150 feet at most, just because I have scattered trees that inhibit my flex shot options and stuff like that. So we're gonna go up there and throw my second shot with that orange Cigarra. All right, so I'm throwing my third shot on this par 5. I threw probably my first 2 best shots I've ever thrown on this hole, just because I'm in the middle and I got a lot of distance because I'm throwing a fairway driver. But yeah, I'm gonna throw my third shot with the zone. I'm really trying to just throw through that gap and even keep turning, because that's my most confident shot. I don't care where the basket's at. I'm just trying to throw the cleanest shot to get through the trees and give myself a putt. Yeah, ideally I would want to flex and then flex back to the basket, but I know if I can just throw a turnover forehand and get through the gap, it'll leave me at 20 feet. So I'm throwing my most consistent shot, not what this shot actually dictates, which would be a flex. So that's a big difference there. So let's see if I can just throw my turnover and give myself that birdie putt. So I caught a tree, probably about 50 feet. I'm gonna try one more, try to throw that same shot and just get a little bit more pop. There we go, much better. Hit that same tree, but those both were solid releases. Just clipped kind of the guardian tree coming into the basket. Not necessarily too upset about the result of that, because I threw them pretty much exactly how I wanted to. But as you guys know, I don't get married to the results of my shots. I just get married to the feel of it, and then the feel. If I master that, get good feel with my shots, it's going to be good scoring from there. So it takes us up to the green here. It's pretty uphill, and I keep clipping these trees here coming into the basket, which is okay. Not the end of the world. I hit these trees on both of them, and my first one kind of kicked over to here at about 45 feet. And if I could have a 45 footer on this hole every time, I definitely would take it. So that tells you how tricky this one is. So got the purple zone, 45 footer for birdie on one of the harder holes out here. Yes sir, got it. Double, twice or it's luck. Got the birdie here, what is this, hole 8? Yeah, so this is always a good get, no matter what. And yeah, I feel like I got a good game plan to birdie it at a high percentage. All right, we got hole 9. This is a 375-foot par 3 downhill, and gradually goes downhill on the first shelf, and then the second shelf, once you get towards the basket, goes severely downhill. So I like to hit about 40 feet short of the basket, and that kills my speed and then trickles me hopefully inside the circle. So I'm gonna go with the Beetlejuice Buzz, kind of hyzer flip it down the gap, and really just trying to hit that 30 foot, 40 foot short of the basket. That's my sweet spot. Just like that. That's pretty much perfect, primo. Yep, that's hit short about 40 feet, skipped up to about 25, 30. So that's pretty much the ideal shot. I'm gonna throw one more. And this is one of my Z Buzzes from the factory store release. And this one's a little bit stable, so I have to throw a little bit more flex on it than that first one. Those are kind of a hyzer flip buzz. This is more of a flex buzz. So I just pulled it a little. I'm gonna throw one more, just try to get a little bit more feel here. Let's see. So try this blue buzz. The same as that last one I threw. It's just a little bit flatter. That one's a little bit more domey, so I feel like it flies just a touch different than this blue one. There we go. That's perfect. So that's gonna hit that 40-foot short mark and slither right up to the basket. That's pretty much parked. So that tells you how much ground play you get on this hole. Is that one skipped probably about 50 feet short all the way to the basket. It also depends on how much hyzer or how flat your disc is coming in. The more flat you have on the disc, it's gonna skip a lot less, versus if you have hyzer on it, it's gonna wanna skip up and go a lot further forward once you hit the ground. So, you know, controlling your angle of release on these ground play shots are super important, because if you play a flat shot into a shot that you're anticipating a skip, it's going to stick at 40 or 50 feet instead of heading with a little bit of hyzer like that last one and boosting and getting that extra skip that you play for. So paying attention to the nose angle is super important when you're throwing skip shots in tight greens like this. All right, so I think this one hit at about 40, 50 feet short, skipped up, was looking good, and then probably clipped this tree. So once again, I'm not really getting married to the result of it. I threw the perfect speed, perfect line, everything, and just happened to clip one of these guardian trees and left me at about 45 feet instead of being inside the circle. So always good to practice from here just in case that does happen in the tournament. Too high. Much better on that second one, but yeah, I mean, I think that first one was just kind of a, that downhill nature of that putt got, kept my putt up instead of having it drop like it normally does whenever you have a flat putt. But yeah, as you can see, this green is very, very downhill once you get to the basket. My other one got too much skip, so I had hyzer on it, and it did skip all the way back here, which, if anything, I'd much rather skip long left of the basket and have that uphill putt where there's no risk versus being where I was at. If I skip off that basket and roll or something, it's an automatic bogey. So if anything, I'd rather be a little bit hot on the drive and take that uphill putt, takes the teeth and the risk out of this tricky green. All right, hole 10, this is one of the signature holes out here. I don't know if the leaves have turned all the way, but when the leaves turn, this is probably one of the prettiest holes in disc golf ever. So by the time the weekend comes, maybe it'll turn. You guys will get lucky and see some pretty ace maybe. But yeah, 475 downhill. I mean, it doesn't get much prettier than this. And I've been throwing the cigar dead straight, so it's got to be the perfect disc for this hole. But yeah, this hole, once again, the height's super important. There's kind of two rules of thumb on this hole. Is you can throw, I'm a perfectionist. I like to throw the perfect shot and mitigate the amount of luck involved. Obviously, it doesn't always go as planned. So I like to keep it nice and low on this downhill shot. But there's other people that throw it high, try to crash the trees by the basket. But I'm going to try to keep this one low and just kind of bullet it to the basket. Something just like that. That's a touch too low. But that was such a perfect line. I'm gonna throw one more, same shot, and just try to throw it a little bit higher. Same shot, just a little low. So both those pretty much identical shots, just a touch low. I'm gonna see if what the buzz looks like right now on this one. This buzz, obviously, I'm gonna have to start it a lot higher than those cigaros. Too much turn, so that was a nice kick. But yeah, really this one, you want to get down there and give yourself a putt. That first one isn't so bad. It's probably about 50 feet short, so just dried up a little bit short. There's not much skip up there because the grass is pretty long, which is another thing to pay attention to. Really slow green, short of the basket, but as soon as you go long of the basket, there's wood chips and it's hard pan. So if you hit 5 feet past the basket, it's going to go 50 feet past the basket. Versus if you land 40 feet short, it's going to just stick because there's grass right there. So really fine line of having that perfect speed control coming into this green. And those are my first couple shots on it since last year. So I got to re-dial in the feel of it. And yeah, it's going to be dialed in by the time the weekend comes. We're going to get that birdie. Maybe even get the long range birdie right now. You guys can see here, nice lush grass that I probably just hit and stuck. So it's something to keep in mind versus, as you can see, once you get past the basket, it's all hard pan, mulch, all that stuff. So if I would have hit my disc pin high, it's going to be gone 40 to 50 feet long. So yeah, once again, still at about C2 edge, still makeable. Oh, so close. Try one more. One high, one low. But yeah, I think really, like I said, really the biggest thing about this hole is, yeah, it's nice to make a long putt, but yeah, dialing in the drive is the more important part. So that way when I step up that hole for the tournament, I know the speed, I know the height, I know the disc I want to throw, and I know exactly where I want to land on the green. Once all those factors are 100% dialed, we're going to get birdies. And until then, let's settle for par. Until it matters, then we'll get the bird. Hole 10. All right, we got hole 11. This is 620 feet downhill, dogleg to the right, and then it kind of comes back left. So kind of want to throw a turnover flex shot It kind of comes back a little bit, but I like to just keep it simple, throw an ante through the gap, and then play my shot from there. So throw a Sagara, try to throw a little bit of ante, glide it down there. That's not going to be enough glide, or enough turn, I should say. Try one more. I'm going to try same shot, just a little bit more turn out of the hand. So try to turn this one a little bit more. There we go. That's good. Okay, so that's probably in the fairway. Should be a good chance for a 3 from there. So yeah, just a little bit lower than that first one. As you see, anytime you guys watch these practice rounds, I'm making adjustments on the fly, seeing my disc, taking notes, gathering data on how the discs fly out of my hand. And like that one, I threw a little bit lower, a little bit more turn. Now I'm in a sweet spot to get a birdie. Whereas that first one's kind of in Narnia, no man's land, and probably not getting a birdie. So yeah, I'm learning just as much as you guys are as we're playing through these rounds, and it's awesome to bring you guys along for the ride. Thanks for tuning in. And all right, so here's a very touchy upshot. This is a very common spot to land on this hole, and I wouldn't say it's easy to land here, but there's a very technical upshot here. You can kind of go through the middle, which is kind of the sucker's gap. You can go left, or you can go right. Right side's probably the most high percentage play. You're not going to park the hole, more than likely, but there's the less amount of trees. There are some limbs that hang down, so if you got to keep it low. I just see a lot of people try to go straight at the basket, hit that tree, drop it 40 feet, miss the putt, get a par, versus taking a little bit less risk, but you're not going to park it, but you're still going to be left at 20 feet. So you're gaining about 10 or 15 feet on an errant shot versus, obviously, if you throw it perfect, you're going to park it down the middle, but a lot more risk. So I'm going to just try to throw it a little bit right. And there are trees down there, but if I do hit those trees on that right side gap, those are about 20 feet. Instead of if I hit the middle tree going down the middle, it's going to be about 40 feet. So big difference. Let's throw it. Just like that. So that's pretty much exactly what I'm trying to do. I went, well, hit the pole. So that's ideal. But ideally, I'm actually even trying to throw it a little bit further to the right-hand side. That shot was obviously perfect, but a lot more room for error, because even if I throw a shot like just like that, it looks like it's turning over to the right-hand side. That's hit the tree, doink, I'm right there. I'm 20 feet. Exactly what I'm trying to do. It looks weird that I'm hitting trees, but that tree that I hit is actually parked, as opposed to when we walk up to this basket, you'll see these trees on that straight shot, the kind of sucker gap that makes you think like you want to go up the middle. You're still left at 30, 40 feet. So, those are the kind of little intricacies on a short course like this that makes a big difference. That's the difference between getting a birdie and not getting a birdie sometimes. So, got to pay attention to it. Experience comes into play, especially on a course like this, that I know where the trees are strategically placed and where the collection zones are, where a lot of people make their mistakes. And I can avoid that for sure. But yeah, and then here's the yellow one that hit the pole. So yeah, big difference between the right side and the straight shot. We're gonna go with the high percentage play. All right, we got hole 12. This is 430-foot downhill par 3. We do have a downslope to the basket, and then we have a drop off at about 45, 50 feet past the basket. So pretty much don't want to go too far long, otherwise you could lose your disc. And if you're not lost, you're very, very hurting. We'll put it that way. But once again, downhill, so I want to keep it low. I don't want to throw it up high because there are also limbs in play on this one. And I'm going to throw a zone just so I can keep it on the short side of the green. I'd much rather land 20 or 30 feet short on this one than go long and risk going down the hill. So I'm going to throw my straight zone, throw it along this right-hand side, and just have that gentle fade of the zone take me to the middle and try to glide me down there. Just like that. That is pretty ideal. Listen. That's probably one of the best shots I've thrown on the hole. We'll see if the result-wise that's what, but just feel-wise and me knowing the hole, the height, the line, the speed, all that was pretty much exactly what I'm going for. So try one more, another zone. Oh, that one's a little bit pulled to the right. Hit about every limb going down there, but that's still about 50 feet away. But let's see here. No, we're good. The first one was a good gauge. I'm gonna see where that first one is, and then we'll make our adjustment from there. But once again, there's some random trees and rocks down there that you can hit and stop your disc. So it's always good to know whether you hit those and landed there, or if you just aired it to that spot. So that way you can kind of get a better feel for the shot. But yeah, that first one should be ideal. All right, so we're walking up to the green. You can see there's kind of rocks and roots everywhere. So sometimes you can kind of clip one of those rocks coming into the green. I threw mine pretty much exactly like I said how I wanted. And so this is just a pretty much routine, easy birdie, but yeah, it's all about the drive. You can throw the right speed, right line, then it's pretty easy from there. So there we go, got the bird here through the zone. And as you can see, going long, even about 35 feet long. Oh, I guess it's actually out of bounds now. I didn't even know that. It used to just be kind of a drop off without being OB, but now it's good to know that it's actually out of bounds. So short side's the spot to land. Anywhere 20, 30 feet short is ideal. Not wanting to risk the out of bounds long, and just playing to the safe side of the green. That's what we do. All right, we got a 570 par 4. This is hole 13, dead straight on the drive with a little bit of fade at the end. This is another hole that kind of tricks you into thinking like you want to go way around the corner. I don't fall for that. I'm just trying to throw dead straight, land just on the fringe. Even if I'm in the trees, totally fine with that because it sets me up for a better angle. I don't mind being in the trees on a hole like this if I get a better angle versus being in the fairway and having a more cutoff angle because it's kind of a left to right shot. So the more left you are, even if it's in the trees, you got an easier angle into the green. So I'm gonna throw the TI zone dead straight. If it fades into the middle, it fades in the middle. If I go straight, I'm totally more than happy with that. Just like that. That's pretty much exactly what I'm going for. It's like left center, so it's perfectly on that left side, but still not in those trees. Try one more. Try to throw that same shot. A little bit low, but that's actually really good as well. So once again, I almost would rather take that second one. That first one looked better, but that second one's a little bit more left. It's gonna open up that gap. So we'll go up there and see. Both of them are fine. I can get birdies from both of them as long as you throw straight. Yeah, just like most courses, if you throw it straight where you're trying to throw it, you're gonna be looking great. So yeah, let's go up there and kind of assess the situation, see if the hole's changed any bit at all since I came back and played it last year. So here's my second one, a little bit short, but in the fairway, totally doable, totally fine with that. And my first one is pretty much primo. But now you guys can see what I'm talking about. Even if I land in here, in these off the fairway, I'm totally fine with that. I can scramble a shot and have a nice angle into the green, which is exactly what I'm going for. Obviously the fairway's always a great spot to land. And from here, it's kind of just the type of shot where I'm just kind of trying to throw it into that gap. Unfortunately, this is a really tricky hole because there's limbs that come low, so you can't really fire right at the pin. You can, but you want to land short, but also the tough part is there's roots everywhere. So right where the sweet spot is a bunch of roots. So you could kick left, could kick right. So it's kind of a roll the dice type of shot. I'm gonna throw my shot exactly how I want to, right down the middle, 30 feet short, and try to rely on a good skip. And hopefully that's what I get. Okay, that was a good shot, just literally a half an inch from skipping all the way to the basket. Throw one more. There we go. That's good. See how I skip here. Okay, yeah, so got a good skip. Didn't hit any of the roots on that second one, hit the gap, and that's a birdie. So, but yeah, once we get up there, I'll kind of show you the roots and that I'm talking about, and we'll, you know, how it can affect the shot and the height, all that stuff. It makes a big difference. So we're walking up to the green here, and you can see this is basically the perfect spot. If I land here, I want to skip right at these roots basically and right to the basket, but sometimes they can kick and roll. They can go left, right, they can just hit the root and stop. So there's a lot of random variables that you can't control. This one got, I would say, kind of lucky because it didn't get eaten up by the roots or any weird skips or anything like that. So that's always good. But yeah, definitely a hole that, you know, you can throw two putters and birdie it, but it's still got a lot of intricacies on it that protects it from being just an everyday routine birdie. All right, we got hole 14. It's a 355-foot par 3 uphill. Way false advertisement on the distance. It's more like 400 feet just because of how much uphill grade. Pretty much the entire way it's uphill. So you're adding at least 45, 50 feet, taking you right to around 400 feet. So T sign's pretty much irrelevant. The real distance is about 400 feet, even though it says 350. And so this is a tricky little shot because if you don't turn it enough and you hyzer and hit that tree, a lot of times they like to kick left or kick right. And if you do that, it's pretty much, it can sometimes be an automatic bogey if you land in a bad spot, just because the way the trees are strategically placed. So anytime you have an off-center gap like this, it's always gonna be a little bit trickier. and it's a little bit tougher. So we'll throw an onyx, try to throw it up there. You pretty much have to cut it close to that left tree. That's the play. A foot right of it, with a little bit of turn, is kind of the ideal spot. So let's see if we can execute. Hit the tree, bounce left, tough up and down from there. So pretty much exactly what I just described happened, which is, unfortunately, that's just kind of what happens on this hole. I'm gonna try another shot here. Try the venom. Try to turn it a little bit more this time. Oh, nope. So that one was a bad shot. I went left of the tree that I'm trying to go right of. So yeah, just not quite dialed in yet on this hole. I'm gonna try one more shot, then we'll go up there and try to save some pars. But this is probably one of the harder par threes. This is a hole that if I got a par on this one almost every time, par is not bad at all. This hole is gonna be bogeyed a lot. So yeah, I mean, as you can see, I've hit the right side tree, the left side tree, but I mean, you can see the gap. It's literally like from where you're throwing 5 feet wide on each side. So if it's a type of hole where I'm not feeling confident, I'll literally just throw a putter, take the par, move on. There's gonna be birdies on it, but just because someone birdies it doesn't mean that I have to attack the hole just because someone birdied it. That's completely irrelevant. If you're trying to win the tournament, there's gonna be holes that you don't feel comfortable on. If you play for par, someone else birdies it, congratulations, you move past it and you birdie all the other holes. And that's something that's I've learned over the years playing a lot of different tournaments. Let's see where I bounce to. And the tough part about this is the guardian tree's still in my way on the second shot. So it's basically in the way on 2 shots, which always makes it tough. Now I'm just basically scrambling, trying to get lucky for a par from here. See if we can do it. Yeah, I mean, I threw that pretty much perfect. Clunked the tree, now we're getting an automatic bogey. So, yeah, I mean, it just kind of shows you how tough and tricky this hole is. Not my favorite hole, a lot of randomness, because once you get up to the basket, like that one, I pretty much threw the exact line and angle that I wanted. Hit a tree and bounced sideways, now I'm getting an automatic bogey. But I mean, you can see there's not much of a, there's an initial gap, but at the same time, this is definitely one of those holes that, yeah, once again, I'll just put it this way. If I get a par on it, I'm happy with it. I don't want to talk bad about the course. It's a challenging hole. But at the same time, if you do hit the gap and push through these trees, you can get a putt and gain strokes because most people don't birdie this hole. But yeah, very still doable. Even though I didn't do it today, it doesn't mean I can't do it tomorrow. Have a little more confidence in myself and throw the shot better and get a birdie. Now I'm kind of left here at about, you see, about 60 feet, trying to save par and get the bogey just barely. So yeah, I mean, this is frustrating. If this was a tournament, it would be real frustrating to basically, you know, throw 2 pretty good shots and still get a bogey. But yeah, tough par 3. That's kind of, it's always good to have tough par 3s out here on a short wooded course like this. You got to have holes that, you know, are challenging even if they're not super long, and that's exactly what this hole does. All right, we got hole 15, 400-foot par 3. This one's a tough hole. Just like the last hole, one of those par 3s that could be a 2-stroke swing. Because if you don't get out of the gap and you kick left, there's a rock wall that you go to an automatic drop zone, and you're basically getting an automatic bogey. So puts a premium on throwing a good drive. Once again on this last hole, just like the last hole, par's not the worst score ever. Same on this hole. It's definitely a confidence check on your backhand. If you're not confident, you can definitely bogey it, but if you're confident, you can lace the gap and get yourself that birdie. So I'm gonna throw the buzz, try to take that second round, get some confidence. Yeah, that's pretty much perfect right there. Yeah, that's ideal. Dead straight with a buzz and just let the late fade take over. I'm gonna throw one more, try to throw that same shot. That one flipped a little bit to the right, but that one went a little bit dead straight, but like I said, it's away from the OB. It's got to chip up for a par. No chance for bogey, which is very important on this hole. You don't want to be bogeying this hole down the stretch, give away a stroke, and just kill all your momentum from the round. As you guys know, I'm very momentum related, and I base my game plan on it. You know, I want to keep the momentum going. If I hit the first available drop OB, all your momentum's done because you're, you know, trying to, you know, save par from 300 feet away, which ain't happening. You're just getting a bogey and you know, ruined your momentum of your round. So, all All right, so tricky par 3, as you guys can tell. I landed long right away from the OB, putting downhill with pretty much no risk. There's no risk of going OB. There's a rock wall to protect me. So I'm not really thinking about any sort of out of bounds, just thinking about giving it the good height, good speed, and try to give myself a good look for birdie here. Just like that. It's a good one to get for sure. Like I said, I kept it away from the out of bounds, played to the safe side of the green, and then just relied on my putting skills to get the birdie. So course management 101 right there, just making sure, you know, anytime you can hit long putts, that always helps. But yeah, course management's the #1 most important thing out here on tour, as a lot of these basket placements and these holes are in tricky spots. It's not like you're playing a wide open field course at your home course where every basket's in a wide open field with no risk. Every hole's got risk reward out here. And if you're off by an inch, you're off by a mile. All right, hole 16, downhill forehand hole. And it's a par 3, of course, 410 feet. And there's a kind of 2 windows. I like to go flex shot around the back side of this hole, kind of access the pin from the long left side. Some people like to go early right. That kind of opens up more luck factor. I like to kind of take the high percentage, so I'm going to go long right, long left, around back side of this kind of guardian tree in the middle of the fairway here. So flex shot with a cap wrap. That might be too straight. We'll see here. Okay, yeah, I got a lot of pop on that one. A little bit too much turn. Though a little bit more stable of a cap wrap on that similar line. That's going to be a little early, maybe. Okay, yeah, I hit the guardian tree on that one. So kind of somewhere between those two. I'm going to try one more just to get a little bit more feel on that shot, since those first 2 didn't give me the best results. Let's see here. There we go, that's better. Oh, I clipped it barely at the last. All right, got to throw one more. Got to get one down there. Get through. There we go. Oh, caught a tree on all of them, but we'll get down there. I'm just getting a little bit unlucky clipping a late tree, but it's all good. That's kind of the name of the game on this hole, is you got to throw a good shot and also get lucky. And I'm throwing the good shot, just not getting the luck after that. But yeah, it's still a good hole. It can be a little tricky. You can kind of see how this hole is a little sketchy as far as just where the trees are placed, and kind of got to get lucky through the trees. But now left here, just kind of like a long, hoping a prayer to get a birdie here. Ooh, close run. Try one more. And so anytime you have like just a pro tip 101, if you guys have a tree in your way, just like I do here, you can still kind of tilt your body. Like I'm in the same stance. I'm not changing my stance. I'm have the same stance, except I'm just leaning a little bit this way on my body to take myself away from this tree. If I land here and stand more of a straight posture, I'm gonna hit the tree. Versus if I step here and then also lean, I kind of open up the gap a little bit more. Just a little pro tip to give yourself a little better chance on these longer putts that are a little awkward with weird strategic trees in the way. So now you know. In order to get that speed to get to the basket, you risk going long. So you gotta be willing to grind out these par saves just like that. That's super important whenever you're running these long C2 putts, and you see a lot of pros that we're really good at running those C2 putts, and we do make some of them. We don't make all of them, but whenever we do miss, we still make that 30-foot comeback putt, and that's super important. All right, we got hole 17, and we got a brand new tee pad here, probably about 100 to 150 feet further. Changes the shot completely. From the short tee, the last year's tee, we were throwing maybe mid-range putters. Now we're having to throw drivers. So big difference, and we have a straight shot that fades and follows this gravel path down this left-hand side. So I'm gonna, of course, go with the Segara. Nice driver that has some serious control. I've really been throwing it really well. So throw it down this right-hand side, flip up a little bit, and then try to fade into the middle. That's the goal. I like that. That's a great spot from there. That's a very threeable spot from right there. I'm gonna try one more. This cigar is a little bit flippier, so I'm gonna throw a little more hyzer than that one. As you can see, that's a little bit flippier. Still just goes dead straight. That's such a nice disc to have. The disc just kind of pops up like that and flies dead straight. Here's my drive. I hit this hill. If I go just a little bit higher, I can get over that hill and kind of get another 50, 60 feet, which makes the upshot easier. But here, threw it a little bit low and just caught this hill. So it's gonna make my upshot a little bit trickier, but throw a forehand cigar. Backhand cigar, forehand cigar, see if we can birdie. It's gonna be a tough angle from here. A little bit too much turn. Try one more, try this orange cigar on a forehand just to kind of see how it flies. It might be a little bit more stable. There we go. Look good, should be up there for a putt, we'll see. But yeah, as you can see, that green one turns and went to the ground, whereas that orange one went out forward and went and glided a bunch. So big difference between those two discs. I'm actually out of bounds, so there's an OB line back here, and that T-pad change makes a huge difference here. As you guys can see, I don't normally land this short of the basket, but but yeah, it's tough putt from over here. I think I actually hit a tree and bounced over there, so I didn't actually throw it over there. Big difference once again, bad result, good shot. But yeah, that longer T-pad is going to make for a lot less birdies, and if you do birdie it, it's going to be a lot more rewarding. So I like the change, makes it a lot more challenging, a little more separation. If you do birdie it, it's going to be solid. All right, that takes us to hole 18, guys. Thank you for watching. We got the final hole. It's a 400-foot par 3 through the gap over this bush. You kind of have two lines here. The left side gap a little tighter, right side gap's a little more open, harder to park, but a lot easier to get longer putt, 30, 40 feet, somewhere in that range. So I like to go this right side, give myself a chance, and yeah, just mitigate these early trees. If I can get through this gap, fade a little bit, almost a guaranteed 30, 40 footer, and I can hit those. A little early, actually. That's going to be lucky. That's actually money. That was accidentally perfect because I earlied it. I'm going to try one more with my first look, guys, at my new test flight fairway driver. This is kind of a semi-overstable, kind of like a Raptor, but a little bit more pushy and more glidey. So my first time throwing this thing backhand. So you guys are along for the ride with me. So I think I'm going to throw a little flex, should push, and then late fade. Let's see if it works. Oh yeah, I love that thing. That's perfect. Okay, that's ideal. Wow. That's the exact shot I was trying to throw with the Cigarra, so I think I was throwing the wrong disc. Just gotta throw my test flight. Hopefully it's approved by the tournament, but I don't think it is. But it flies good, that's all that matters. As you saw, it like glided out of the hand, so it gets that nice distance, but then fades late. And this is a 400-foot hole, so it's exactly the kind of shot you want. Early glide, late fade. That's my new test flight does. It's gonna be good. All right, I just wanna show you guys the open airspace whenever I'm throwing that straight shot just over that bush that we were talking about from the tee pad. It kind of takes you here through this open space, and then as you can see right where my test flight landed, I'm walking up to my disc for the first time, and it kind of went through this gap, late skip, that late fade stability took me right exactly where I wanted to, about 25 feet. So this is actually the perfect disc. I just didn't even, the disc that I didn't even know I needed, but now I know I need it after parking this hole, peering that gap. Feels good, gives me that confidence with my new disc. Thank you guys for watching. Brewster Ridge, it's gonna be a good week. We got new discs, we got awesome stuff happening. Thank you guys for watching. Gonna be a lot of birdies out here on the wooded course. Look for it.